Hello, this is my video submission for article analysis 8, creating an international market for disruptive innovations. What is the overriding issue in this article? The article seeks to understand the market and environmental requirements that, when met, can foster successful disruptive innovations within the international market. It seeks to answer the question, what impacts does framing the disruptive innovation process have on market proactiveness? Because of the uncertain and unknown nature of disruptive innovation, it puts these innovations or innovative products and services at a huge market disadvantage. The article highlights the significance of understanding the international context in market proactiveness that leads to disruptive innovation success when launching. Who are the stakeholders? I mainly focus on the inventions, the innovators, and their companies or service or products. The creators behind these disruptive innovations have big strength in that they have created a product or service with major benefits to the world or to their target audience. It's something that the customer might need. However, there arises a challenge in that their consumers might not know that they need this product or this service. These innovations are not necessarily solving an existing obvious problem for their consumers, but rather maybe a product or a service that's going to improve their life, benefit their lives, or change it in some way. But the idea is that it's not something that they really understand or actively currently see as being needed. Another challenge could lie in trying to convince their consumers that this innovative product or service is, a necessity for them. It's something that's going to benefit their lives, improve their life greatly. And a threat could be that if they fail to convince or even make their consumers aware of the benefits of their product or service, then the whole idea could essentially never leave the ground or take off. The issue at play is that disruptive innovations are innovations that change the landscape of a market or essentially create their own markets. So with globalization on the rise and more businesses entering the international market, there are a lot of inspiration for disruptive innovations. There are a lot of gaps, a lot of problems that need solutions, and that's where these disruptive innovations come from. These brilliant innovations, however, may not become a commercial success simply because they're brilliant if they don't know how to market themselves. These innovations arise from an industry in which it no longer can exist within. I like this to the internet within the time of the wall phones and pagers and stuff like that, before handheld devices, mobile devices that could do all the things that they do now. I imagine the internet, when it first came to fruition, it was something that was unprecedented and unheard of, and it was probably looked at skeptically by a lot of consumers. But in order for it to succeed, it had to create a market for itself where its audience and its consumers were made aware of its benefits, and it was able to grow its audience and its brand in order for people to give it a shot or, want to try it out. It had to create its own market and requires market proactiveness in order to launch with the internet and all that. So I also gave another example. The COVID pandemic brought about a lot of changes and a lot of firsts for many people around the world. Navigating remote work and school, navigating virtual technologies, and staying connected while isolating were big problems during lockdown. And a lot of apps and services and industries kind of came into their own within this time. For example, the food delivery services thrived where restaurants lost and sank because their market allowed them to succeed in such an environment. They anticipated the direction of the world, in that the direction for consumers, the importance for convenience and speed for consumers. A lot of people, I don't want to say they're becoming lazy, but they're very much more reliant on easy, fast, and convenient methods to achieve what they want to achieve. So many people are ordering food in simply because they just don't want to drive to the restaurant or sit inside a restaurant and eat. And that was before the pandemic hit, but especially now that all of the stuff that's happened. So I said food delivery, grocery delivery surge during the pandemic, and it's still very much big today. People that shop and deliver your food to you so you don't have to lose your house is a very profitable and huge market right now. I said there was somewhat of a similar market before the pandemic where Amazon created, where their fast shipping and market where people could shop for virtually anything and get it within a day or two. That type of audience, that type of consumers who craved convenience and speed, that's the type of market these food delivery services were able to tap into, but in a innovative, I guess disruptive, innovative way, where they changed it to food and allowed other people to do that on your behalf. So it was, I guess, essentially the same idea, where it was making delivery services and food services convenient for the consumers because they allocated that labor to someone else for a pay. So I said these, or at least I considered that a disruptive innovation because before the pandemic, and even a couple years ago, maybe this wasn't a huge thing. It wasn't, I don't even think really a thing back then. I still sometimes use food delivery services, but definitely not as much as I do now. And that's mostly in part thanks to COVID-19 and the lockdown. So this may not necessarily be a proactive measure. It didn't really influence anything, but I still think it's disruptive because it anticipated a growing niche or a growing market, and it created a product that has grown significantly because of favorable and lucky circumstances. So my reaction, I said market proactiveness is needed now more than ever. Globalization and the internet has expanded the limits of a company's market. In order to compete, especially with disruptive innovation, services, and products, a company must build market awareness and educate its customers, like in the case of the disruptive innovative company that was mentioned in the article, Domo Sedan, I don't know if that's how you say it. They have to create their space instead of trying to find it. I think that's the key takeaway here. There are so many opportunities now in the age of the internet and global markets. Another company I consider a disruptive innovator is YouTube, because before YouTube, I think the main medias and entertainment platforms were very traditional, where it was the TV, the radio, maybe face-to-face, like going out and doing things. But now with YouTube, which kind of opened the doors to other apps like TikTok and Instagram, Twitter, and all these social media platforms to have the significance that they do now in our culture, YouTube really created a niche space where they created something that did not exist before them. A single YouTuber can pull in astronomically more views than any TV show or movie happening on TV or even in a theater. But that's, of course, if you don't compare it to like the biggest blockbusters out there. I'm just saying a kid creating a video on their phone in their bedroom is pulling in millions of views and making millions of dollars. And that's not something that would have been possible some couple years ago. So that is a very prime example of a disruptive innovation in my book. I said the world is changing, and it takes more than a brilliant idea to change it. So yeah, I think there are a lot more disruptive innovations happening now. I think the reason why we're not hearing about them more, or they're not being, characterized as disruptive innovations, is because they aren't able to create their own lane. They're not able to create their own market where they're able to flourish. So my recommendation, I said, even though many markets are now overly saturated, I still think it's easier now than ever before to create marketing campaigns and to reach a lot of people. Key strategies that a lot of companies use now when they're trying to market products or services to people, they use influencers, celebrities, social media platforms where millions of people are already gathered and their interests are already in, and they use that and take advantage of that to market their products. So I think using that, you are able to more easily, more with less money, build a brand and audience awareness. So the internet and social media is the future. It is the now and it is the future. And people on the internet and social media, they love new things. They always want to be the first to discover something new and put others onto it. A viral tweet could launch a business in this day and age. A viral TikTok could launch a business from being a small time business selling a couple products to a couple people to selling to millions of people all around the world. This is a prime time for disruptive innovators to really succeed and put themselves and their ideas out there. But with that, there is the trade-off where it has to be personal, or there has to be a face to it for people to really invest in it. I think a lot of YouTube success comes from the closeness that people feel to the product, which is the YouTubers. So if you're able to make your product personal or personable, if you're able to shape or frame the consumers within the benefit that your product can create, in terms of like stating the problems and how your product is going to solve that problem, maybe creating campaigns where you show where this idea came from, what issues that you saw and how it impacted you, and how you decided to come up with this solution to solve it. I think that's a lot more effective now than just running with the facts of your business and what it's going to do for you. You just have to put a face to the brand these days for it to be successful. So yeah.